I saw this video and I wanted to watch it out. I knew that LeBron made a school, right? I didn't know it was failing. So I wanted to check this video out, You watch it with me, you guys. Let's react to this.
Almost exactly 7 years ago, LeBron James stood at this exact spot and opened his I Promise School. Arguably the greatest accomplishment in his entire career. He was lauded as a philanthropist, visionary, and a private citizen who stood up to do what the government wouldn't. It was universally celebrated as a success. But since then...
So for 3 years, not one child passed the state test in math, not one.
Principal of the LeBron James I Promise School in Akron has submitted her resignation following an allegation that she slapped an 11-year-old student.
A quote, death note was found on the school grounds, and that note found sometime last week had a list of names of teachers and students who work and attend the school.
The amount of tears that I saw from teachers that work there.
What's up, y'all? I'm KipKama11, and I'm here in Akron, Ohio to find out, why is LeBron James's I Promise School failing? Well, to begin, we have to go back to 2004. Fresh out of Akron, Ohio, LeBron James let all the naysayers know that he was the truth. After a successful Rookie of the Year campaign and an $87 million Nike deal, LeBron was a far cry away from where he was even just a...
I agree. At least he's trying something for the community. I definitely agree with that, right? But you got to be careful who you hire in the school. This is a thing where, let me say this, right? Props to him for he's trying, but I think half-ass tries are not really that great, right? I think he fell into the position where he just threw money at something, right? It's like, here's a bunch of cash. Go do what you got to do. It's like really no responsibility, no real effort, in my opinion. Just throw a bunch of cash. It's the low-hanging fruit.
Year ago. Still possessing a strong allegiance to Akron, LeBron founded the LeBron James Family Foundation as a 19-year-old, as a way to help out struggling children like him when he was growing up. As his career accolades and profile grew, so did his organization. In 2005, LeBron hosted his first annual bike-a-thon, with kids from Akron riding along with him, joined by NBA friends Carmelo Anthony and Dwayne Wade. He continued to provide steadily for his community and took it up a notch in 2011, where he started the I Promise Initiative, a program that gave resources to underprivileged children in Akron in order to help them succeed with school. This would go from bikes to computers to even annual trips at amusement parks.
I love being in this program. It's life-changing.
After a few years, this initiative expanded to the I Promise School, as a way for kids who are at risk of flunking out and being claimed by Akron's tough environments, like LeBron almost famously was, to express themselves and be supported. It was a fantastic idea, and the first of its kind. There have been schools opened by celebrities before, like Deion Sanders' Prime Prep Academy, Will Smith's New Village Academy, and Kanye's Donda Academy, all with varying levels of success. LeBron's school, however, was different. It was a fully public school as opposed...
I did not know that. So all these schools that these celebrities open all failed? I mean, I'm not looking into the information, but so I hope that's correct. Or Dr. Umar's school just recently, like, it kaputs, right? I think the feds or whatever just went in and they said, you're done. No more trying to make a school anymore. I'm really disappointed, right? I don't understand. These are wealthy people, right? Dr. Umar excluded. These are wealthy people putting money into the community, yet why are they failing? I don't, this is what I'm trying to, understand. It's like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. And I think it's corruption. I think it's laziness. I think it's a whole lot of shit. I just don't understand where we constantly say we need money in the community and stuff like that, right? But it's like, for years, decades, we have put money in the community. So why is it still failing? That's the thing where I think nobody's talking about. Nobody's digging in deeper, okay? And I think there's something wrong where you have, these are black principals, black teachers, black, I don't know, mayors, all these people that are in positions to help, positions to push the community forward, yet why is it failing? Why are things failing? Why are schools failing? Okay? What the formula is there, right? You see other schools, private schools, suburban schools, the formula is there. Yet why are these schools failing? Then it's not about money.
The private school or academy, fully integrated into the Akron public school system, and operated as such. Only that it's got over 100 of LeBron's game-worn shoes inside, and over $1 million a year in extra funding. This was history in the making. In a regular public school, LeBron James became the vice principal. But seriously, in America, there hasn't been a large-scale project like this. One of the reasons being, I'd be remiss not to mention, is that LeBron is, again, a private citizen attempting to revolutionize schooling for lower-income families and children. What he's doing is venturing into uncharted waters. Not only has he opened a school, he's opened up transitional housing down the block from the school for families and parents of students who might be experiencing bouts of homelessness. There are 50 families here who prior to this had struggles with finding housing. This initiative right here gives them a home. Less than 2 blocks away from the I Promise school. There's also the I Promise apartments, geared for longer-term stay. Then there's House 330, where parents of kids are employed by the facilities to give them work. I talked to some of the people there, and they had nothing but wonderful things to say about the foundation.
I was never accepted into LeBron Foundation. I don't think I would have known truly what to do in life.
There are schools out there that receive additional funding, but you're not gonna find them in America. You might find them in Japan. This is a very nice school. What? Or a private school. There's no place in America that's providing public school resources to a facility such as this, except for LeBron. So, what's the problem? Well, for starters, we have to address what exactly it was that made I Promise so special in the first place. Beyond the grand name and media attention, there were genuine benefits that looked to be promising for children coming from different backgrounds. The inaugural principal for the school, Brandy Davis, an Akron native and 18-year veteran of Akron Public Schools, put it plainly in national news circuits. We are going to be that groundbreaking school that will be a nationally recognized model for urban and public school excellence. We are letting people know it is about true wraparound support, true family integration, and true compassion. Wraparound support, like a hug. That's one of the core tenets of the I Promise school. It's the vibe that LeBron James and his, family foundation were looking to cultivate. It's plastered everywhere around the school, and it's even the
Now, I don't know this. I'm gonna make them making assumptions, right? Assumptions, pure assumptions. I think a failure, a tenet, maybe a source of failure is that you are not pushing excellence. You're not pushing people to be excellent. You are catering to emotions, right? Like how you feel, it's like, to be honest, how's that? I mean, yes, they may make them feel better, but how does that push them to excel? Maybe that thing. Celebrities and athletes often launch schools quickly without long-term feasibility studies, right? Okay, they underestimate operating costs, governance needs, and accreditation hurdles. And that's also a thing, right? These people just throw money into shit. But what I'm saying is that, you know what? It's the people that are behind it, right? You got the principals, you got the teachers, you got faculty. Why weren't these people, that's why I said, you have mayors, you have other officials. Why? Because this is like you putting money into the community, right? You want the community to succeed. So why wasn't so many people, right, that's around it, behind it, not pushing it to succeed? I don't understand.
First thing you see on the website, and also when you pull up to the school. The I Promise school was looking to create an environment where kids at school felt like they were at home, and that their teachers were family. This was accomplished in a multitude of ways. On top of the taxpayer funding that I Promise got as a part of the Akron School District, something for some reason that drew ire in the local press, there's about $1.5 million extra that the LeBron James Family Foundation provides for the I Promise school budget. Given its rather elaborate interiors and miscellaneous costs that came with new features, the foundation spent approximately $2 million in the school's inception. This extra spending goes for creating smaller class sizes for children, free bikes, hiring tutors for after-school programs, free breakfast, lunch, and afternoon snacks, as well as an on-site family resource center, which includes a food drive, GED education classes, and lawyer services for parents of the I Promise kids. Beyond that, there was a significantly longer school year from July to May, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., as well as 4 intervention specialists and an ESL teacher. All of this in Akron, home of one of the poorest school districts in the state. Then, of course, there are all the visits made by LeBron James, his shoes on the walls, and sometimes personalized messages and shout-outs from the king himself. To any kid, best school ever, right? The teachers thought so too.
I actually thought it was going to be amazing.
This is former I Promise school teacher Jessica Gerber,
a 12-year veteran of Akron Public Schools,
who started at the I Promise school in 2022. More on her later. The very first school year of the I Promise school started with much fanfare. I mean, after all, it was literally the LeBron school. Everyone and their mother wanted to know how it turned out. So much so that LeBron's media company, Spring Hill Productions, commissioned a documentary on the first year of the I Promise school. You can find it on YouTube. I highly recommend.
What's up? Totally awesome. What's up? I see that too. I wonder that.
Recommend it. It's an amazing watch. In the first few minutes, you can see there's a great amount of resources that truly do provide relief for families in serious need. It instilled hope in the family of those attending the school.
Who's gonna help him and stuff, with his problem, like with his reading, everything.
But now the issue, and the very big issue at that, is actually educating the kids. The way that students from the I Promise school were selected was through a lottery consisting of second graders from the bottom 25% of achievement levels in Akron, those classified as academically at risk. The lucky 120, or technically 240 because it was 3rd and 4th grade for the first year, would get placed into the I Promise school and receive nice perks like free uniforms and more serious ones like jobs for parents. All of these children came with baggage, and a lot of it. It tended to be the reason even that they were low achieving. They weren't.
Now, maybe this would be harsh, right? McCoy said, right? If you push kids to excellence, they will quit. it is hard. It is hard when we have a society, right? This ain't a, as harsh as it is, this ain't a communist society, right? Where we try to make everyone as equal as possible. It's about merit, right? Excellence. We strive to produce excellence, right? We are a country with, six-figure people, millionaires, billionaires. We push excellence. It is, I think it's part of the capitalistic model that we have. Okay. And to be honest, again, when you have a school that's made up of the worst of students, sad as it is, right? These are students that are at the bottom of the totem pole, not just because of, yo, whiskey, what's up? Thank you. These are students at the bottom of the totem pole, not just like family life, not just emotionally, all these stuff, also educationally. So it is really just sad. Okay. But again, we live in a society that the strong prevail, the weak die out. It is a sad reality. So I don't know. I don't know what we can do for the ones that are the weak. I don't know. I agree. I agree. Every class of people can't be the upper class. Only the few. And you know what? That is the world we live in. Right? That is the world we live in. If there are people that win, there are people that will lose. It's a sad thing, right? It is a sad thing.
Able to focus on class because they were acting out. Oftentimes this was because they had unstable home lives, with families not knowing how to prioritize education because they hadn't been down the path themselves and were busy worrying about other things. Take Nate, for example, a kid who was showcased on LeBron's Instagram story, who began at a kindergarten reading level. If something got too frustrating or intense for him, he would get up and walk out of the classroom. His teachers would say that he was so behind, not because he wasn't able to learn, but because he wasn't spending enough time in class. The lady who,
this is the thing where McCoy is right. This is America. This is welcome. This is the system we have. Yo, Artie, what's up, my brother? I hope you're doing better. I hope you're doing better, my brother. Right? I hope your health is better. This is why we need to switch our focus. What happened to, we should be teaching kids blue collar jobs, right? Carpentry, working with your hands, right? Not just, again, he said the kid has a kindergarten reading level. The kid looks big as shit. So we should be like, what happened? This is why this is the danger, right? This is the way we're not doing it, where why don't we teaching these kids, domestic work, right? I don't know, carpentry, gardening, electric work, all, blue collar jobs that, we've been phasing out. But the people like this, that could be a future. They don't have to try to excel to be an engineer and all that shit. Yeah, yes. Why is our farming industry so weak, right? Why is our farming industry weak? Why not teach kids how to farm and stuff? Exactly. This is where we are going about things the wrong way. Oh, we need a whole bunch of future engineers. Not everyone can be an engineer. Not everyone can be the rich, the wealthy, the middle class. No. Just how it is. We have a shortage of plumbers, all these blue collar jobs, carpenters, all these things. We have a shortage of it. I just think we're going about it we're wrong. Fitness, what's up? Thank you for showing the love.
Who we saw from before was Nate's grandma, who lives with Nate's mom and her 7 kids. What happened to the dad?
And his friends set him up. They stabbed him, shot him, ran him over. They stabbed him with a stone.
On top of that, Nate had experienced a SWAT raid in his apartment complex after his uncle had been caught selling drugs. He says that he wasn't scared, but it's clear.
Exactly. Totally awesome. Exactly. This is why immigrants are a problem. These kids should be the construction workers, plumbers, and electricians. Exactly. This is why I hate this, right? The Democrats, the left, This is what they are. They are a part of destroying our country. Instead of, repurposing shit where you have these kids, pipeline them into the future of where, immigrants are pretty much taking those jobs. I'm sorry. Not everyone can be the engineer, can be the, tech bro, can be the finance bro, no. We have to focus on our citizens first, right? What happened to like home ec classes, shop classes? I don't know. I don't hear those things that much, right? We're not teaching kids to, work with their hands. I'm sorry. Not all kids can work with their brains. Everyone's not on the same intellectual level, but some kids can work with their hands, and we're not teaching these kids. We are, outsourcing it to immigrants. We're outsourcing it to immigrants, illegal immigrants at that, right? We are outsourcing it to illegal immigrants and neglecting our own citizens. No, that shit is messed up.
The experience impacted him.
Police, put your hands up!
Nate is just one of such cases. And in a classroom, one of 20. In another class, there was a little girl who felt so unsafe that she would lock herself into one of the very fresh and new lockers at the school. After a few weeks with the kids, one teacher admitted,
you have the romantic thoughts, like, I'm gonna change the world. So when you get in and you have 20 kids who struggle with school and you have some kids who have behavior issues, you kind of be like, okay, well, this is a little harder than I thought.
Now, I'm not gonna reveal all that happens for the documentary if you're looking to watch. But at the end of the day, it ends with phenomenal news that 92% of kids met or exceeded their expected state growth in both math and reading. And on average, the kids moved from the 1st percentile in English to the 9th percentile for 3rd grade and the 16th percentile for 4th grade. And in math, kids went from the 1st percentile of achievement levels to the 18th and 4th grade.
But this is the thing where I think a lot of, Whiskey, thank you for the love. There's no bad job. Exactly. When I was growing up, picking sugar beets was a great summer job. Exactly. And I also say this, right? We have a problem with families. I've said this before. It is the epidemic of single mothers. Epidemic of single mothers, right? One of the biggest things that is a problem is the lack of families. Lack of a family unit. A good father, a good mother, right? In a family. You see the detriment right here.
Graders went from the 2nd percentile to the 30th. In that first year, the rate of growth in the I Promise school was better than 99% of schools nationwide. This was a huge win for I Promise, and things were looking up. But there are still issues. One, just because kids had met or exceeded their expected level of growth doesn't mean that they were on grade level at the end of the year. It just meant that they at least advanced one grade level in 1 year. There were some big success stories where some advanced further, but overall, many of the kids were still below grade level, advancing to the next grade. And beyond that, there are some more serious issues brewing. Summer, which included a 7-week summer camp for the kids, yet another perk, came and went. Despite the behavioral issues and mountain of progress that was still left to be made, the sentiment regarding the school was still tentatively hopeful. There were revisions made to the initial plan of the school, one of the last ones being that they weren't going to add 1st and 2nd graders like they initially intended to. But they moved on with the next cohort of 3rd graders, and the original 4th graders became the inaugural 5th grade class. And it seemed like the sky was the limit. Then, of course, the pandemic hit. Now see, this is where things got bad. For a lot of us in the US in regular home and school situations, the pandemic was an inconvenience.
I agree. I mean, like, it's no guarantee being from a 2-parent household that life would be amazing. I agree, but you gotta think, right? It's optimal for a reason. It's optimal for a reason. I mean, imagine if having 2-parent household, right? And you still fail. Imagine having one. You just life is stacked against you then.
And lowered work ethics overall.
Yes,
I was
I do agree.
in high school and I experienced the strongest dose of senioritis I think one can get. But I came out relatively unscathed. For those in younger grades, the results were much more dire. Over the last 3 decades before the pandemic, 8th graders nationwide have steadily been getting better at standardized math tests. But from 2019 to 2022, almost half of that growth in 30 years has been lost, setting 8th graders in math back literally 2 decades. Now, imagine the kids at the I Promise school. Kids like Nate with 6 other siblings, a mom that works nights, and a grandmother. He had to find a place to focus in all of that mess. Or some kids that may have their heat shut off, so they'd have to focus through the cold. A student at the University of Akron did a small study involving 10 teachers who taught at the I Promise school during the pandemic. The study found that all the teachers had significant issues getting the kids to follow instructions, and a large majority of them believed that their kids were performing worse than expected, while having overall negative behavior. There have been studies done about the disparities that were exacerbated in the pandemic between high-income and low-income families, and that was the same in the Akron School District, a lower-income district. They also suffered from what's known as learning loss during the pandemic. The amount of failing grades in math went up by 9%, and chronic absenteeism also went up drastically. Now, imagine kids in the bottom quartile of this district in a situation like this, the ones that were hard enough to keep in the classroom during regular school. There wasn't any way this was going to end well, and it was a nasty halt to the momentum that had been building up. The kids that needed food and support had to now rely on teachers and employees driving around Akron, delivering them lunches and face-to-face communication. One teacher knew the route to every single one of her students' houses, and to get to them all, which she did routinely, it would take 3 hours. A quote from her as she was helping out a family. And it really just dawned on me. School is not this family's main focus right now. They're literally surviving. Like many did, I Promise got through the worst parts of the pandemic. It was hard, but they did it. But then things took a turn for the worse.
Also developing this evening, the principal of the LeBron James I Promise school in Akron has submitted her resignation following an allegation that she slapped an 11-year-old student.
Brandy Davis, the veteran principal, Akron born and bred, assaulted a student shortly after pandemic restrictions on the school had been lifted. The testimony she gave was that there was a situation in a bathroom and a kid took a dump in the urinal. One of the kids told Miss Davis, who was rushing to the scene of the crime, using some pretty crass language. Miss Davis then said she went into auntie mode, treating the kid like her own nephew, and slapped him for using the S word. The kid's lip was split and bloodied. She immediately and profusely apologized to the family, but the damage had been done. From there, it's kind of downhill. Miss Davis was one of the main faces behind the entire operation. She's still listed as the principal on the I Promise school website, but due to the incidents, she was immediately placed onto paid leave in September of 2021. Davis then resigned in December of that year, and the school began a very turbulent period. While Davis was on paid leave, retired principal Charles Jones stepped in immediately to be the interim principal. Then after a month or so, principal of another APS school, Anthony Lane, took over for the rest of the school year. Going into the 2022-23 school year, things were looking bad. In just 1 year, the school had 3 principals. But they were able to secure a permanent principal, a University of Akron graduate and assistant principal from a nearby school district, Tawana Ham. She was a promising and eager prospect, but after 1 year, she was moved to another principal position in the district, and shortly after left Akron altogether. The district didn't give a reason, and when the local paper reached out to Ham for comment, she didn't respond. Remember Miss Gerber from before? She was at the I Promise school for the exact same amount of time that Miss Ham was, and well.
I'll tell you a story from the first time I walked in. The very first day I shared a classroom with an intervention specialist, and I walked in and he was like, the kid was 7th or 8th grader, and he was just chewing out the teacher, and she's a young thing. And I was like, don't speak to her like that, and if you don't talk to me, I don't know who you think you are, you don't come in here and talk to me. Walks out, slams the door. I mean, my first 30 seconds in the classroom. Wow. And that kind of sums up how the kids act. They call it a walk and talk, and anytime they don't want to be in class, they throw a fit and they walk out of the classroom. I had an altercation with a very large 6th grade student who was trying to fight another student, and I was trying to break it up, and then he, turned on me like, get out of my.
Yeah, I will always stand this, right? We have a single mother epidemic. Yes, there is no guarantee that 2-parent household will automatically produce productive future adults. I agree. Okay, we need good parents, but at the very least, right? At the very least, it is the best case scenario, right? It's the best case scenario for a kid. The best case scenario for the kid. I believe a big problem we have in society is a single motherhood. That is the first thing. That's the destruction of future adults, right? Of future productive adults. We are producing worse and worse kids, right? I just think that it's not a good thing.
Face, I don't even want to repeat what he said to me. And there was at the front door of Akron, or at I Promise is an Akron cop. And I looked at him and I was like, are you going to do anything? And he just slowly unfolds himself. He goes, they don't listen to me either. That's the response.
Wow. Okay.
And it was after that incident, I called my boss and I said, if you don't get me out of this school, I will quit right now.
Her experience speaks for itself. A lot of these problems were evident and documented in the first year of the school, but progress was still ultimately made. But when the school went into the pandemic and then lost its foundation.
But again, I agree, right? Like McCoy said, you need 2 good parents, right? 2 good parents. If you have 2 bad parents, yes, that is a recipe for disaster. I 100% agree. And one good parent is definitely better than 2 shitty parents. I agree. If everything is equal, right? If everything is equal, you have, 1 good parent versus 2 good parents. The best case scenario is 2 good parents. I agree with that. But the reality is we have a lot of I wouldn't say terrible single mothers. We just have a reality of single mothers that can't handle it, nor are they producing productive future adults, right? They're not doing it not in mass. So again, I was raised by a single mother, right? So that doesn't mean that, yeah, I don't subscribe to the idea that, oh, single mothers automatically mean, bad people, bad future adults. No. But again, who knows, right? Who knows if I was raised by a good 2-parent household? Maybe I would not have struggled in my youth. I think that's the thing where a lot of people, maybe we wouldn't have struggled in our youth. Maybe we would start off on a better footing. Okay? So that's what we got to look at, right? That's what we got to understand, that we need to look for changes. We need to really inspect what's the problem in our society right now. I say this, one of the big problem is single motherhood. Another problem is, you know what? A lot of women are just having kids with a lot of shitty men. They're having kids with shitty men. And they're not, I've said this before, they're not vetting, looking for good men. I always hate this, right? This is the thing where women, if you don't have kids, fine. Have sex with whoever you want. Live life however you want. If you are going to have kids, find a moral man. Find a man that's intelligent, morally sound, stands on his principles, okay? Will be a good father, will be a good husband. If you're going to have kids, who gives a shit if you are, going to live the fun life, right? I don't give a shit, right? You want to have sex with the attractive Chad? Fine, go ahead. You want to have sex with the high value man? Fine, go for it. If you are going to have kids, be more responsible.
Principle. The visions that the founding team came up with weren't able to be executed properly.
Big bars. What's up, my brother? What's up? A father is important for a boy. 100%. It is. I think it's so much, particularly now more than ever. A father's is incredibly important.
Students came in with the same problems as the old students, and it got to the point where it seemed that the culture was dictated more by the students than by the teachers, at least according to Ms. Gerber.
The teachers try to get kids to do things. I mean, I will be like, it's not the staff. Like, there's no support there at all. There's no accountability. I mean, we've got 7th graders beating up 3rd graders on the school bus. We have kids. I mean, when I say fights daily, multiple, constantly. Fights. The amount of tears that I saw from teachers that work there, everyone's put in for transfers. Like, I know at least 5 teachers who.
And like in my day, during my day working, I talked to a lot of teachers as well. This is the result right here. We are having single mothers that cannot handle taking care of the family, providing for a family, and trying to discipline the kids. They can't handle it. Okay? These women, these single mothers, they cannot handle it. And I'm not putting off that they're terrible mothers, but they can't handle everything. They can't handle everything. That is why fathers are so important, where they should be taking up the responsibility of disciplining children, of shaping children, of teaching children how to respect and fear authority. Okay? It is hard.
Put in for transfers because they just don't want to be there.
The teachers became overstressed and overworked, a lot of which had to do with another critical component, IEPs. If you're not familiar, it's a document, IEP standing for Individualized Education Program.
To be honest, right, I agree with Evil Eddie, right? Eliminating alimony, child support, plus, right? Here's my thing, government assistance. You are not allowed on government assistance unless you are disabled. I'm sorry, choosing to have 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 kids does not equate you to government assistance. I'm sorry. The government shouldn't be taking care of you because you couldn't control yourself. Okay? No, the government shouldn't be assisting you because you have so many kids. No, I'm sorry. As this is the thing, we live in a harsh world. We live in a world that's unfair. I'm sorry. CPS should be taking your kids. CPS should be taking your kids. You shouldn't be getting government assistance because you have so many fucking kids. No, I'm sorry. You shouldn't be doing it. Again, if you can't take care of your kids, you shouldn't be having so many. Like the woman that the little chubby boy, I think he said that the mother had 6 other kids. 6 other kids. One kid is already like really can't even handle, right, school. So you think the other kids are doing better in school? They're not.
In the American K-12 system, assigned to children that have a learning disability and require extra attention in the classroom. These disabilities...
Yo, totally awesome. I agree. We should be we should be putting government assistance if you marry, helping out actual families, right? If you have a husband and wife and have kids, incentives, right? Incentives to have a productive family. I agree. We should be doing that. I think Japan or probably China as well. They're doing systems, right? Government programs to encourage families. We should be doing that too. Make it easier for people to have families, not make it easier for single mothers. No. Make it easier for people to have families. Not make it easier for people to live the single mother life.
These range anywhere from dyslexia to speech impairments to autism. And these kids are often in regular classes with other students with just a bit more attention.
I agree. The child support should be like, you should know what the money's going to. You should know what the money's going to.
Given to them from the teachers. Nationally, there are about 15% of these types of students. In the Akron Public School District, there's about 17%. As of 2022, the I Promise School had 30% that required an IEP, double the national rates and damn near double the districts. In some classrooms, that number was as high as 45%, and one of the grade levels had 50% of children with some sort of learning disability. Damn near illegal in Ohio, and straight up illegal in Akron. It got so bad that the Akron Public School District placed a limit on kids who had gotten an IEP to I Promise, capping them at 10%. It was this environment that made I Promise so difficult for teachers.
But according to Ms. Gerber, that wasn't the only issue.
Because what you see on social media and what you see, like, you know, LeBron, everything is given, nothing is earned. Or, I mean, everything is earned, nothing is given. It's actually the opposite. Everything is given, nothing is earned. I Promise isn't any different than the kids that were getting.
I think that's the problem. Okay, I get it. Disadvantaged kids, you want to help. But we have to understand, right? Where there comes to a point where we are enabling, okay? You don't, like, I don't know about you, but growing up, I'm old, right? I'm old. So growing up, when the whole participation award, right? Participation award comes on, I was livid, right? I was like, what the fuck is this? You might as well not done shit, right? You might as well not even try. Getting a participation award, what is that for? Seriously? Oh, I attended school. That's the least you could do. And getting an award for that? Like, we're giving out people for just being here. It's like, seriously. We are rewarding mediocrity. It is not helping nobody. Shit like that. The participation award shit. This mindset of just giving shit out. So because you are, I'm sorry, disadvantaged, just give them to. It's not producing hard work. It's not producing people to strive to be better. Yo, Whiskey, what's up? Thank you for the love. When I was young, I feared my father and idolized him. When I was in college, I had fun and screwed up. My father said he was disappointed in me. It cut me like a knife. Later in life, my father told me he was proud of me. Exactly. That right there, that's the power, right? The power, the amazingness of a father, of a good father, okay? We're not talking about shitty fathers. Sadly, I had a shitty father. But the amazingness of a father right there, that right there.
In Akron Public Schools. They're just getting.
Jane, thank you for stopping by. Thank you.
Selected. Half their siblings are with us. Do you see what I mean? Like, everyone's got trauma. I don't know. Like, it's just a different environment. I've never been in an environment where there's no accountability like that.
And this was reflected in the report given 2 years ago.
Oh, Nazo, thank you for stopping by.
After the 2023 school year, Keith Lichty, the liaison between the I Promise School and APS, compiled a report to present to the board concerning the I Promise students and their scores. The first report since the first year in 2019. But the news wasn't so good this time.
3 years, not one child passed the state test in math, not one.
What this board member was referring to was this chart, one of a series in Keith's presentation that told a story quite opposite from the end of the first year, from a time of promise and opportunity to one of stagnation and even failure. After the pandemic, kids from the original 3rd grade class, with kids like Nate, not a single child passed a grade level state exam in math for 3 straight years. This is even more damning when considering their testing protocols.
It takes the I Promise kids 5 weeks to finish a test. 5 minutes, I'm not kidding, and they want a break. I need a break. And they're allowed to have one. They get up and they walk out of the classroom. They need a break.
Not only were the kids not doing well, they ended up, by the 8th grade, growing less by kids who weren't selected to go to the I Promise school.
This is the thing where, like I said, right? I don't know. We're not. We have to reevaluate how we educate kids. We have to do. Okay, if kids aren't excelling in actual like mental education, we should be. That's what I'm saying. What happened to shop class? What happened to home ec? All those stuff. We should be pushing kids to like work then, right? At the very least, they should have some workable skills.
I went to other Akron schools despite being eligible for I Promise. Again, by the time these kids left 8th grade, the kids who were eligible for the I Promise school in Akron and didn't end up going were growing more than the I Promise kids were. In math, 42% of kids were making a year's worth of progress in school compared to just 27% of I Promise's kids in the 8th grade. And in 7th and 8th grade,
In English,
I Promise kids were still learning less than kids in other Akron schools. And when we're talking about this year's worth of progress, by the way, this is again meaning if all of the 8th graders came into school with a 5th grade math level, then only 20% of them in I Promise would end up with a 6th grade math level by the end of the year. The APS board president at the time, Derek Hall, made this point.
Those numbers could be 100% growth, grades 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. But if they came to us 2 years behind, they'd leave us 2 years behind. If they're not exceeding 100%, then they're not actually catching up.
Still though, we do have to keep in mind that the I Promise school is quite literally the first of its kind. LeBron James and his foundation.
And you know what? That's big bars. This is a thing where I don't know. Maybe I'm just too old, right? I find like because you got to compare it, right? Old school teaching with modern day teaching, right? Old school parenting with modern day parenting. I get it, right? We see that it was it's abuse and shit like that. But honestly, it produced. I honestly believe better adults. I think it produced better adults. I mean, that's just how I see it, right? I think it produced better adults, better children. Because if you look at kids now, compared to how kids when I was young, when we were young, I think it's worlds apart. I think it's worlds apart. We were having worse kinds of kids more than ever. Patricia, what's up? Yeah, I agree. We need to bring back meritocracy. I agree. Caring about you succeeding, pushing you to succeed, pushing you to be better. This is what I do with this channel. I promote us as all of us, right? To be the best version of ourselves. It is only a beneficial thing. That's what I hope more people would be.
Foundation were the first to help open up a public school. And with unplanned obstacles like a global pandemic and a principal assaulting a student, there's not that much that could have been done about it. At the end of the day, it is still a high-class facility that's helping out underprivileged kids. And when I think about the kids that I met at House 330, multiple going into fields that wouldn't have been possible without LeBron's foundation, I have hope. Mrs. Gerber, with all of the issues that she took with the school, even conceded that it could work.
That the premise of what he wanted to do was a really good idea, and I think bringing in the upper grades ruined that. If they would have kept it with 3rd and 4th grade, they would have saw big things happen.
Since that report was made in 2023, the school has made some progress, led by Principal Stephanie Davis, a fully committed Akron native. Because of the bad test scores, the I Promise school was placed under state intervention in 2 categories, Black students and students with disabilities, where both groups were testing in the bottom 5th percentile of the state. In February of 2025, the school was able to exit out of that classification, which is of course progress, but there's much more work to be done. When the inaugural class graduates high school, it's very likely that it'll show that the kids would have done just as fine, if not better, if they had went to a regular Akron school. But then again, it's not quite fair to judge I Promise on its first class. Like an I Promise representative said.
We also, in essence, opened a middle school during the time of a pandemic, and a lot of the initial work was put into the development of what did the elementary school look like and how was it built. But I don't know if everybody came back to the table and did the same level of work, given that we were in the middle of a pandemic, to build out the middle school.
With a more stable leadership culture, more experience, and more tweaks, the stats will improve. Now, will it end up that the I Promise school will be a nationally recognized model for urban and public school excellence? Probably not. But will it change lives for students and their families? From what I saw in Akron, that seemed to be the case, school or no school. The kids that I saw were empowered to see and pursue their dreams. So, again, is the I Promise school failing?
You know, I hope it does well. I also hope that, you know, this right here, this video showed me that I honestly believe that we need to change how we want to educate our children. Okay? I get it. Not everyone can excel in math, reading, science. I get that. It's just how it is. That is why I honestly believe we need real world teaching. Do blue collar jobs. Why aren't we pushing home ec, shop class? I think we should be pushing that for the kids as well. I really do. Teaching, like farm, just other useful skills. Other skills that you can possibly go into. I think those are also a smart thing. Because if you can't excel, God forbid, if you can't excel in intellectual work and you can't excel in or do well in like physical work, there's nothing, you're just screwed, right? You're just screwed. You're just meant to not succeed in anything, not do well in nothing. So that is, it will be a sad thing, but if you can't do it, then there's nothing else you could do, right? But it just made me think. I want to just watch this video, so it was interesting.